Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the SCSRA Morris Customs Truck Series here on Intensity Broadcasting on iRacing. We're getting ready for a great race here. Double points on the line for the finishing order. 2 stages here tonight. It's going to be a great one. You're not going to want to miss this one here tonight as we get ready for 170 laps around the Lady in Black. I just noticed that my timing scoring was glitching out a little bit, so I'll give that a second while that loads back up. There we go. Everybody's name is the way it should be now. Again, 170 laps here, 2 stages, laps 50, laps 100, and then a 70 lap stage to the end. Double points for the final finishing order. So a lot of points on the line here tonight. This is going to be a fantastic race around the Lady in Black, and the sun is going down. Cody Moore, currently the fastest truck on the racetrack. You see Brian Canuti pulling off there down onto the bottom of the racetrack. There's Devin Bucciano in that 68 machine, currently the 3rd fastest on the racetrack. And yes, I know the title on the Facebook is wrong. That's all right. We'll get that corrected after the race. But we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, or over on Kick. That's right, we're broadcasting over on Kick now as well. We do appreciate you tuning in and joining us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. And hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. Let's take a look at our points coming into tonight. And Cody Moore, currently your points leader, already locked into the playoffs with a win. Devin Bucciano is second, also locked into the playoffs. Eddie Morris, though, sits back in 3rd, not yet locked in, looking for his first truck win of the season. Matthew Fritz, another winner, back in 4th. And Brian Merle Jr. up in the top 5. Jr.'s shown a lot of speed over the last few weeks, finds himself up in the top 5. Then Joe Wright, Blaze Richardson, one of our rookies, back in 7th. Matthew Scott, another rookie. Jay Stinson, Matthew Allen, Brian Boyd, Brett Merle, all these, everyone but Brett there, I just mentioned, all rookie drivers. So it's going to be an exciting one here tonight. I know Brian Boyd will not be in the race here tonight. Unfortunately, going to lose a couple points to Brett Merle. But we'll see. A lot of racing left before the playoffs start. So plenty of time to regain those points. So after tonight, 3 races remain after tonight in the regular season. You have a Darlington tonight, which again is the double points race. Next week we move on to Homestead, Miami, then New Hampshire, my home track, and then rounding out the regular season at Las Vegas. Then we move to Bristol, Texas, Talladega, Auto Club, and Phoenix. So playoffs starting up very soon. We will have a break in 2 weeks for the 4th of July holiday. So here's your current fastest truck on the racetrack, the 52 of Cody Moore, with a 29.39. Brian Canuti matching that, as you can see, back in 2nd. And Devin Bucciano, 0.09 of a second different between our top 2. Eddie Morris back in the 4th position in that familiar orange 8 machine. Oh, catches the wall off of turn number 4. Is going to make hard contact with the inside wall. Fortunately, it's just practice, so plenty of time to figure out the racetrack. Here's Matthew Scott in the 35, just making his way off pit road. Currently the 5th fastest driver out on the racetrack. We got about 20 seconds left before qualifying starts up. We want to thank everybody for joining us again. Don't forget to check out our great partners. You can find them down below in the description. Of course, Morris Customs for all your iRacing paint jobs. Check out Morris Customs over on Facebook, facebook.com/Morris Customs. as qualifying is getting ready to get underway here tonight. Also want to thank Blue Ridge Auto Group for their support of the series. For all your new and used Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, visit BlueRidgeCDJR.com. So we got our first drivers making their way out onto the racetrack. First one being Joe Wright in that 82 machine. Of course, our other partners as well for all your iRacing and driver coaching needs, visit raceepi.com. You can check out our website over at intensitybroadcasting.com for hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, novelty t-shirts, and Atlee Atman Weese's racing gear as well. Check that out. Link down below in the description. I have one more shout out we're going to give, and we'll give that one after qualifying as Joe Wright is getting his qualifying lap underway. Down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Again, you're going to see these drivers running right up against the wall here tonight because that's where all the grip is. Down across the stripe, Joe Wright's going to be the first one to set a time. He's going to get a 29.69. Brett Merle's going to sit back in second currently. You see that sun setting there off of turn number 3. And for some of these drivers, if they're running any type of HDR or VR, that sun can actually blind you just like in real life. It's hard to see the corner coming off the corner there. So Joe Wright currently up at the top of the board. Here comes Blaze Richardson off of turn number 4 and down towards the stripe. And Richardson's going to stay up in P2 for now. Jay Stinson in that 31 off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. Down off of turn number 4. And Jay Stinson's going to go to the top of the board. You see that throwback. A couple of these drivers run some throwback paint jobs tonight. You see the 31 in those old Mark Martin paint job there. You see Michael Provolt on the racetrack. Good to see Provolt out here tonight. Another throwback paint job, the 29 of Matthew Fritz. Running that Penske colored truck. Down across the stripe. He's going to move up into the 3rd spot. Dave Hartney making his way out onto the racetrack. See Matthew Scott also making his way onto the racetrack. So Eddie Morris now coming across the stripe. Start his first of 2 laps. Right up against the wall, then going to cut it down off of turn number 2. Try to get that good run down the backstretch towards turns 3 and 4. Now let's ride along with Eddie here. I'll talk you through the lap here. As you come off of turn number 4, you're going to come down the backstretch and you're going to dive down towards the stripes. Down into turn number 1, then let the truck wash up the track up against the wall. Then you're going to kind of double apex it, let off the throttle a little bit, drive it back down to the bottom to make your way off of turn number 2. Carry the speed, as much speed as you can down towards turns 3 and 4, which is the tighter end of the track. A little bit of brake to get that truck settled and turning. And let that truck roll through turns 3 and 4 right up against the wall, down to the stripe, and that was a lap around Darlington Raceway as Eddie Morris jumps up to the pole. Here's Matthew Scott in the 35. Currently 6th fastest. Let's see what he's able to do here off of turn number 4 and down towards the stripe. And Scott is going to stay in P6. Looks like David Wright just making his way out onto the racetrack. Or just took the green flag, excuse me. Up in that high line once again, down to the stripe. And Dave Wright on his first lap is going to jump up into the 14th position. Ooh, got a little loose there off of turn number 2. Able to keep his foot in it, though. Down through turns 3 and 4. Ooh, again, loose off of turn number 4. Able to gather it up, though, as he comes across the stripe. And that's going to be good enough for the 10th position. Gannon Cypher is just coming off of turn number 4. Again, ready to take the green flag on his first of 2 laps. Makes his way down into turns 3 and 4. And coming to take the white flag. Down the backstretch, Cyphers comes towards turns 3 and 4. Right up against the wall, trying to find all the grip he can. Drives it down off the corner and down towards the stripe. And Cyphers is going to stay up in the 12th position currently. Couple drivers left to qualify. We see 3, Cody Moore, Brian Canuti, and Devin Butchino all left to qualify with just about 2.5 seconds left here in qualifying. Cody Moore and Brian Canuti both sitting on pit road, getting ready to make their qualifying attempt. And Devin Butchino rolling off onto the racetrack. So it looks like Canuti and Moore are going to wait till the very last second to get themselves out onto the racetrack as Butchino gets his truck up the speed down the backstretch, which used to be the front stretch, going into turns 3 and 4, which long ago used to be turns 1 and 2. We'll talk about the history of this track in a little bit. But off of turn number 4, Devin Butchino is going to take the green flag as both Cody Moore and Brian Canuti roll off onto the racetrack for their qualifying attempt. Butchino down into turns 3 and 4. Let's see what he's able to do here on his first lap. He's going to jump up the P2 on his first lap. Let's see if he's able to improve here on that second lap. We've seen a lot of drivers run their faster time on their first lap. So Butchino off of turn number 2. Down the backstretch towards turns 3 and 4. Using all the grip he can off of turn number 4. Keeps the truck up off the wall. Comes down across the stripe, and Devin Butchino goes slower on his second lap. Brian Canuti up into the 3rd position on his first lap. Cody Moore back in 9th. Canuti makes his way through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Can Canuti better his time here across the stripe? Canuti up to the pole. Cody Moore up into 3rd. What a lap for these drivers here, getting themselves up to the front. We'll get a full rundown in just a moment. But before we do, again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. Whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, or over on Kick, we do appreciate you tuning in here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Check out our great partners listed down below, including our final one I was going to mention earlier, the Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is a established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded haptic that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. So check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one's right for you. Visit thebuttkicker.com. Now let's take a look at your starting grid. And on pole tonight in that 40 machine is the 40 of Brian Canuti. Eddie Morris is going to roll off P2. Cody Moore back in the third spot with Devin Butchino in fourth. Fifth will be Jay Stinson in the 31, and Ryan Gomes in the 55. Matthew Fritz in the 29. He'll roll off from the 7th position with Dave Hartney to his outside. In 8th, then Matthew Scott and Joseph Wright will make up your top 10. Michael Provault back in the 11th position. He's going to have Blaze Richardson to his outside in 12th. 13th will be David Wright with Charles Balance to his outside in 14th. Gannon Cyphers will roll off from the 15th position in the number 2 with Brett Merle back in 16th. Brian Merle Jr. from the 17th position. Rick Ward in 18th. Matt Allen and Joey Hickox will round out the rest of the field here tonight as we get ready for our double points race here at Darlington. Again, stages lap 50 and 100 with a 70-lap run to the end. Pace truck on pit road. Brian Canuti leads them down to the green flag, which is in the air, and we are racing here tonight at Darlington. Field makes their way down into turns 1 and 2 for the first time. And Cody Moore's going to slide up in front of Devin Butchino, and Brian Canuti gets loose down on the low side. He's going to lose a few positions here as Cody Moore gets around Devin Butchino up to the high side. That's going to put Eddie Morris into the lead as the field makes their way off of turn number 4 for the first time. And Eddie Morris is going to lead the first lap here tonight. Matthew Scott side by side with Matthew Fritz down into turn number 1. Scott going to slide job right up to the wall in front of Fritz. He's going to take over that 8th position as Brian Canuti has a mirror full of Devin Butchino and the 31, Jay Stinson, not too far behind as well. For the lead, Cody Moore gets the run off of turn number 4. He's going to dive down to the bottom. He's going to take the lead right away from Eddie Morris. Eddie getting out front, getting those points for leading immediately. Now it looks like he's just going to try to settle in here and try to hold on as the tires here at Darlington wear out incredibly quickly. We'll see that all night tonight. Dave Hartney, gets up into the wall as the 55 of Ryan Gomes got a little loose there. So it looks like the 55 getting a little tight already. The 43 getting a little loose already. And just in front of him, though, we see Devin Butchino trying to find his way around the 40 of Brian Canuti. Meanwhile, in the back of the field, we see Brett Merle taking a look down underneath Gannon Cyphers, a couple teammates working around each other back in the 14th position. Brett Merle started back in the 16th position, and he has moved himself up 2 spots already. Moving up 2 spots. Cody Moore up 2 spots into the lead, but not pulling away from Eddie Morris. Eddie just kind of hanging back there in the second position. And you see David Hartney, Ryan Gomes, and Jay Stinson. And Matthew Scott coming up into the picture here as well. Now Brian Canute starting to pull away from Devin Butchino just a little bit. As Dave Hartney is trying to make a look down to the inside of Ryan Gomes, but just not quite close enough to make that move happen just yet. As we see the 35 of Matthew Scott creeping up into the picture. He's trying to find a look to get around the 43. He's going to take a look down to the inside, down into turn number 3. Hartney with that high lane advantage. The high lane is so much more of an advantage through turns 3 and 4. It's so hard to pass here at Darlington due to how narrow this track is. You see all that real estate down below, but really that's all apron. You don't want to get yourself down there. Oh, as Gomes gets up into the wall, that's going to allow Hartney to pull right alongside and get around the 55, and Matt Scott's going to follow suit as well. Meanwhile, Eddie Morris now has Brian Canute right there on the back bumper as he's starting to run down the 8 machine as we work lap number 9. Matthew Fritz down to the inside of Gomes as well. So Gomes, as the 55 of Ryan Gomes, a lot of damage to the right side of that truck. Looks like he made pretty significant contact with the outside wall, and that's really starting to slow that 55 down. Aerodynamics are so huge here. It can tremendously slow that truck down if you have a little bit of right side damage. So I think that's what he's dealing with right now, getting himself what's called a Darlington stripe. Because you're running so close to the wall here, it's really easy to get yourself up into that outside wall. And he's already the first driver to get up into the wall, but he's not going to be the last. Eddie Morris now looking to the inside of Cody Moore, trying to retake the lead off of turn number 4, but Moore able to get the run up on the high side. That broke Eddie's momentum a little bit. That's allowing Brian Canute to get right there to the back bumper of the 8 of Morris. Again, your first stage is Eddie Morris cuts a little bit of contact with the outside wall. There's a Darlington stripe as well. Brian Canute going to take advantage of that as he's going to move down to the inside lane as Morris gets up into the wall yet again. They are side by side, but Morris now able to get the good run up off the high side with all that grip. And Canute's going to have to tuck back in line. That's allowing Devin Butchino to catch right back up to these two, and it's allowed Cody Moore to pull away. So being side by side here at Darlington is a huge advantage for the drivers around you, not necessarily the two drivers that are side by side. So we've seen both the 68 and the 31 pull right up to the back bumpers of Brian Canute and Eddie Morris. And Cody Moore's lead is now just about a second. Matthew Scott trying to work the bet over David Hartney right now as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. To get around that 43 as Matthew Fritz is starting to creep up into the picture here as well. Just saw Brian Canute right there on the back bumper of Eddie Morris trying to push him down into the corner. And now you see that sky behind starting to turn that nice orangey red. The sun is setting. That means that the track temperature is going to start cooling off. The speeds are going to start picking up. The grip levels are going to go up as Devin Butchino gets himself a Darlington stripe, and Eddie Morris is going to let Brian Canute right on by. So Canute now up into the second position. So now Wasted Rages Racing runs 1-2 as Neon runs 3-4, but that positions are going to change as Eddie Morris gives the position to Devin Butchino. And here comes the 31 of Jason Stinson to follow right through as well. So move Eddie Morris, who was just battling for lead, falls back all the way to 5th place. Now David Hartney and Matthew Scott right behind. They're trying to get themselves in the mix as the 29 of Matthew Fritz up into the wall gets himself a Darlington stripe now as David Hartney gets a little loose there off of turn number 4. Able to hold on to it though, but allows Matthew Scott to pull right up to the back bumper as they make their way down into turn 1 and 2. Hartney trying to hold on to that truck. We saw him get a little bit loose again as he just barely touches that apron. Now allows the 35 right back to the back bumper. And here comes the 29 of Matthew Fritz as they make their way down into turns 3 and 4. Hartney scrapes the wall. That allows Matthew Scott and Matthew Fritz a good run down the front stretch. And here comes Joe Wright up into the mix here as well. He's caught this group as Scott is able to clear the 43 of David Hartney. And Matthew Fritz now looking for his opportunity to get around the 43 as well. How about Joe Wright pulling right there into the mix? As Matthew Fritz takes a look down to the inside, Fritz locked into the playoffs. He did get himself a win earlier in the season, as he's now side by side with David Hartney. Getting a little bit of a push here from Joe Wright as they make their way down the front stretch towards turns 1 and 2. Side by side through turns 1 and 2 as Hartney just brushes the wall just a little bit. Doesn't look like it affects his truck too much as Fritz now has to battle with Joe Wright looking up to the high side. So who was just the hunter is now the hunted as Joe Wright makes that move around, and David Hartney is going to pull right down to the bottom. Says, you know what, you guys are a lot faster than me. I might as well not hold you up. Going to drop down into the 9th position. As Joe Wright starts to set his sights on the 35 of Matthew Scott. A little further back, we see Brett Merle and Charles Balance battling back here, and I think Brett was running, marching his way to the front. I don't know if he has a little bit of damage now. Let's see through the magic of iRacing here if we can see if he indeed has gotten up into the wall. No, the truck looks clean. Nope, truck does not look clean. You see that damage right there on the 11. As the truck comes by, you can see that scrape on the right side. So that 11's been up in the wall, and we're going to see that most of these trucks by the end of this race will have that scrape on that right side. You see Cody Moore up in the lead. That truck is clean as can be. So isn't the 40. But you see Devin Butchino. Butchino's got a little scrape on the right side of that truck as he's been up into the wall once or twice already. The 31 of Jay Stinson trying to run down that 68 machine as well. Right behind Matthew Scott. Chasing down the 8 of Eddie Morris. As we are almost halfway through our first stage. And Brian Canuti now. Cody Moore pulls down to the inside. That's going to allow Brian Canuti to take over the lead. So new leader of the 40 machine. And a battle here between Matthew Scott and Eddie Morris. And here comes Joe Wright up into the mix here, currently running in 7th, and he is quickly catching this group here. Right along with Joe. He's got a front row view of this battle in front as Matt Scott now takes a look down to the inside. Eddie Morris just catches the outside wall, and Scott's going to take over that 5th position. Joe Wright's going to follow through, as well as looks like Matthew Fritz getting around Eddie, as Eddie was just making hard contact with the wall yet again. So we see quite a bit of damage happening to that 8 machine, and that's going to slow his progress as we hit the halfway point of the stage. Devin Butchino pulling over, allowing the 31 of Jay Stinson to go on by. That takes over the 3rd position for Stinson. Matthew Scott. Starting to run down Devin Butchino as well, and Joe Wright right there in the tire tracks. We got our first taker down on the pit road. That is the 11 of Brett Merle. Getting a lot of damage to the 11 machine. This is a tricky pit road to get down on a who. We ride along here with Brian Canuti. You'll see as they come down turn 3, if we take a look at the inside of the racetrack here, you can see just how much real estate there is. You see that cone right there. There's the entrance of pit road. That is a very, very, very tough pit road to get down onto. We do often see people missing pit road, as we see Cody Moore makes his way down on the pit road. So already green flag pit stops are underway. Most drivers trying to, looks like some drivers maybe trying to split the stage in half. We see the 34 of Rick Ward, a lot of damage to that machine as he's going to make his way down towards pit road, possibly. Nope, he's going to pass right by pit road. Either that or he just missed it, which is a very possibility. Blaze Richardson now down on the pit road. See who our next taker is going to be down on the pit road. Looks like Joe Wright's going to come down on the pit road this time. You'll see what I mean by just how tough it is to get down on the pit road. There's Devin Butchino as well. Michael Crowvolt down on the pit road. Well, Brian Canuti is going to stay out and lead a few more laps. Question is, how many laps can he stay out there on these older tires? We'll see the drop-off. Brian Canuti's best lap in the session was a 29.86. Last time by, he ran a 31.43. So that really tells you how much the fall-off is on these tires. Canuti now makes his way towards turns 3 and 4. He stays out on the racetrack for yet another lap. So 20 to go in the stage. Brian Canuti leads Matthew Scott and Matthew Fritz. Jay Stinson in the 31 now makes his way down on the pit road. Brian Canuti continues to circulate the track out in front. But Dave Wright now up into the 4th position, trying to stay out there and gamble a little bit. Some of these drivers might be trying to save a little bit of fuel too, but I don't think they're going to have enough fuel to make it to the end. Well, some of these drivers' lap times have fallen off tremendously. David Hartney, Matt Allen, both down on pit road now as well. And now Matthew Fritz making his way down on the pit road. Now here's a good example of how much fresh tires matter. See Blaze Richardson driving by Brian Canuti and just pulling away as that 40 machine continues to circulate the track on old tires. See Joey Hickok's down on pit road as well, running that old Dale Earnhardt scheme. Awesome paint job there. Gannon Cyphers on pit road. You see a lot of damage. All these trucks have damage on the right side from getting up into the wall, and we'll see that a lot here tonight. That's going to put only 5 trucks on the lead lap. Brian Canuti, Matthew Scott, Dave Wright, Brian Merle Jr., and Chuck Balance. The only drivers left on the lead lap. As we have coming to 15 laps left in the stage. I don't think Brian Canuti has enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage. But weirder things have happened. We know he's trying to get himself locked into the playoffs here. He's missed a few races, so he's trying to do what he can. Get himself back up towards the front. Brian Merle Jr. makes his way down on the pit road. That leaves just 4 drivers left to make a pit stop. See the 55 of Ryan Gomes trying to use the apron to get around the 44 of Brian Canuti. Canuti, though, staying out on the racetrack. There goes Gomes right on by. And here comes Cody Moore to get his lap back as well. So Brian Canuti's last time by, he ran almost a 32-second lap compared to the 29.8 that he ran earlier to a 31.9. To 2 seconds of fall off in just 38 laps. But with 10 laps, about 10 laps left in the stage, he does have a 30-second lead over Cody Moore, who just went around him. And Cody Moore is the first driver out there on newer tires. So he's the first driver on new tires that has made their way around and gotten themselves back on the lead lap. Matthew Scott and Dave Wright also left the pit. Brett Merle makes his way around the high side. Get one of his laps back. It looks like we have one driver who has retired from the race, and it looks like the 34 of Rick Ward has retired. We'll double check as the scoring comes back around this time. Yep, we see at the top Rick Ward has retired from the race. We ride along here with Brian Canuti and hear him just how gingerly he's working that throttle, trying to save as much fuel as he can. Oh, now Canuti's going to make his way down pit road. Here's what we're talking about, that tough pit road to get down onto. That's going to give the lead to Matthew Scott. You see Brian Merle Jr. making his way around the 35. So does Scott have enough fuel to make it to the end? Scott's been consistently running mid 32s, as now he's going to dive down to the bottom. He's going to hit pit road. That's going to give, oh! Dave Wright, what a save for David Wright. Not sure what just happened right there, but it looked like So we can go back and see what happened here is David Hartney trying to get around the 84 machine. Oh, just made some contact. And then you see Chuck Balance sliding to all three drivers. Oh, and as I say that, Balance now up into the outside wall. No caution. We stay green. Not really sure what just happened to Chuck Balance there. Let's see if we can see what happened. Absolutely nothing happened. It was just the way that his truck lost connection and came back onto the racetrack. So Cody Moore, now your leader with 5 laps, coming to 5 laps to go in the stage. He's got a 10-second lead over second place Devin Buccino. Buccino does have 3-lap newer tires though, and he's actually starting to gain on Cody Moore just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough time. As now Joseph Wright has moved into the second position. You see Joe Wright's been running quite a bit quicker than Cody Moore the last 5 laps, but a 10-second interval is going to be tough for Joe to make up here with just 4 laps to go. Devin Buccino sliding back. He just lost another position to Jay Stinson. Now remember, points are doubled for your final position, but not for the stage. However, you've got 2 opportunities to get stage points, as we have stage at lap 50 and lap 100. Jay Stinson now on a tear here. He's running down Joe Wright as we are coming to 2 laps to go in the stage. And Stinson trying to get the extra stage point here, as he knows he can help him later on in the season. And again, not too many races left here. Just 3 races remain until the playoffs. As you know, pit road is closed. Drivers will not be able to come down pit road to try to gain an advantage here at the stage. Joe Wright doing everything he can to hold off that 31 machine. Cody Moore way out in front as here comes the 31 taking a dive down to the bottom. Last lap of the stage as they are side by side, door to door for that second position. Stinson's going to have the advantage going down into turn number 1. Joe Wright though using that high lane, keeping the momentum as they come off through the apex. And here comes Devin Buccino fighting back here, trying to get himself another playoff point back, or excuse me, stage point back. Here comes Stinson down to the inside of turns 3 and 4, battling for a stage point. Joe Wright up into the wall. Stinson is going to finish second in the stage. Joe Wright third. Devin Buccino back and forth. Matthew Fritz in 5th. Michael Provolt 6th. Brian Caduti back in 7th. Dave Hartney 8th. Blaze Richardson 9th, and Matthew Scott going to get that final playoff point as Cody Moore wins the first stage here tonight. When he comes around and gets his pit stop done, we'll talk to him about how that first stage went. Field has caught up to the pace truck, and Cody Moore is going to be the first driver to dive down towards pit road. Of course, being a double points race and an extended race, these drivers do have a couple extra sets of tires on the wall. In fact, they have 6 sets in the pits, which will allow them to pit much more often than normal, as the entire field is going to make their way down onto pit road. Looks like Matthew Scott is staying out. And his tires are only about 8 laps old, so, which doesn't sound like much, but here at Darlington, the track is so abrasive that the teams used to try to refrain from even pushing tires across through the pit road, as it was abrasive enough to start chewing up the tires. So Cody Moore able to get off of pit road first. Dave Hartney off second. Jay Stinson third. Joe Wright fourth. Well, Ryan Gomes got off, stayed out on the racetrack, so he is back on the lead lap. I believe he was the lucky dog, so he's going to have to drop back. Actually, he's going to be able to pit here. And let's get a word with our stage winner, Cody Moore. Cody, you got Josh up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
I got you, buddy.
Man, kind of a tale of 2 different stages there. A lot of drivers trying to stay out, extended, and you coming down on lap number 43, or a little earlier than that, I think it was, trying to short pit that and kind of split the stage. Did that seem to be the better strategy of the two, it looks like? And is that going to save you a set of tires there for the end of the race in case we have a couple cautions in that final stage?
Yeah, it's interesting. Nudie chose to stay out there, and he was able to stay on the lead lap. It's going to be real interesting this stage because I don't think fuel is going to be a problem. So we'll see how this goes. I don't really know what I'm going to do in this stage, but we'll see.
Also, you got Matthew Scott there who stayed out. He's only got 8 laps on his tires. Do you think that's going to make a huge difference coming to this restart?
No. Hopefully, I should have him in a corner or two. 8 laps is a big fall off at this track, so I feel pretty confident I can at least get him out of 2.
Well, good luck the rest of the stage, rest of the race. I know you got 2 more stages here, so good luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, buddy.
So that was your stage 1 winner, Cody Moore. So it looks like Matthew Scott is going to choose the outside lane on this restart. Lights are off on the pace truck. All the drivers that are in front of the leaders here are going to make their way back around, putting themselves on the tail end of the lead lap. Those drivers would be Joey Hickox, Eddie Morris. Matthew Fritz was the lucky dog, so he was able to get down onto pit road and get service done. Nancy Hickox says, congratulations, 52, winner of the first stage. Good job, 31. You're racing smart. And yes, Jay Stinson is running very smart tonight. He's up in the top 5 still. Going to restart in the 4th position. As Matthew Scott chooses the outside lane, Cody Moore down on the inside. Dave Hartney and Jay Stinson back in row number 2. Joe Wright, Devin Butchino, row 3. Michael Provolt, Brian Canuti, row 4. As Matthew Scott's going to lead them back down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. We're set racing for stage number 2, and Matthew Scott getting an advantage down into turn number 1 on the start. David Hartney down on the low side of Jay Stinson. Stinson, though, on that high side, going to have the advantage off of turn number 2. As Hartney almost gets up into Devin Butchino, he's going to pull right down to the bottom. That's going to allow Brian Canuti to take a look down to the inside of Butchino and take over that 4th position. Will Witt in the chat says, let's go Wasted Wages. Wasted Wages now runs 1st and 4th. But here comes Neon Racing's Devin Butchino down to the inside, trying to take over that 4th position, but not quite close enough to make it work. As the other Neon driver, another Neon driver, Joseph Wright, starts running down the 68 of Devin Butchino. A little further back, we see some side-by-side racing. Matthew Fritz, Gannon Cyphers, Brett Merle, Brian Merle Jr. all in the mix here. Ooh, almost some contact. A little bit of contact there between Fritz and Cyphers as Eddie Morris makes his way down on the pit road. We see a lot of damage on that 8 machine. Not sure if he got up into the wall or had some issues there. Don't see anything on my scoreboard, so tough break for Eddie Morris as Jay Stinson now works side by side with Matthew Scott, trying to take over that second position. Again, remember, Matthew Scott's on a little bit older tires, about 8 laps older tires than the rest of the field, and you're seeing that come into play. Here comes Brian Canuti. He's trying to make it 3 wide for a second. Now we've got 2 by 2 as we come off of turn number 2. Both drivers on the inside got really loose. Here comes Joe Wright. We've got 7 drivers now under. Like, oh, the 31 gets turned. Caution is out. Jay Stinson to the outside wall. That's going to bring out our first wreckage rewind. First caution for incident here tonight. Try to take a look to see exactly what brought this out. We see Stinson down on the low side. And I don't know if he thought he might have been a little bit... Yeah, he started coming up the track like he was clear. Joe Wright was there. It was just a bang-bang situation. Joe Wright comes down into Brian Canuti. They both get a little bit of damage. Stinson, though, backwards up against the outside wall. And then it looked like there might have been a second incident towards the end of this as well. Yeah, Dave Hartney almost ran into the back of Chuck Balance. And you see Hartney sliding down to the inside, so... That's going to bring Matthew Scott down on the pit road. A couple other drivers, Michael Provolt, David Hartney, Joey Hickox, Jay Stinson coming down pit road, trying to get some of that damage fixed up. Doesn't look like too much damage to that 31 machine. Although he did hit the outside wall pretty hard. Looks like he's just going to try to get most of that fixed up here on pit road. I don't think he took his reset. Yeah, you still see the damage on that truck, so did not take his reset. Although with the new damage model on these trucks, they do take a little bit more of a beating than they used to, so we'll see how that affects that driver as Joe Wright's going to dive down on pit road, because I don't know if they're going to give him the EOL or they're going to deem that one a racing deal, but either way, Joe Wright down on pit road. Looks like he's going to top off here. Gannon Cyphers down on the pit road as well. Jay Stinson coming back down on pit road. Probably going to get some more of his damage fixed up. So I told you I was going to give you a little history of Darlington. Darlington opened up in 1950. It's one of the older tracks on the circuit. And when it opened, what is now the front stretch was the back stretch, and what is now the back stretch was the front stretch. The track has an egg-shaped layout. And the reason for that, believe it or not, is a minnow pond. So we'll pull up the track map here so you can see the shape of the track. Turns 1 and 2, that is the bigger side of the egg. It's banked at 25 degrees. Turns 3 and 4, banked at 23 degrees. The front stretch is banked at 3 degrees. Back stretch is banked at 2 degrees. And when they wanted to open up the track originally, Bill France Sr. got permission to open up the track, but the original landowner, Harold Barsington, literally demanded, that the track be egg-shaped with one quarter tighter because he didn't want to ruin Ramsey's minnow pond on the west side of the property. So to this day, there's still a little minnow pond, which sits outside of turn number 3. In fact, if we zoom out here as the field pace truck is off on the pit road. We'll take a look later on, but Cody Moore chooses the inside. Devin Butchino to the high side as the field makes their way off of turn number 4. Green flags back in the air. We are back racing, and Brian Canuti getting a good launch on that low side. He's going to clear Devin Butchino down into turn number 1. Matthew Fritz all over the back bumper. Blaze Richardson. Matthew Scott all over the back bumper of Michael Provolt. A little further back, we see that Jay Stinson trying to work his way back through the field. Looks like he did end up having to take that reset. Had more damage than he would have liked, and unfortunately for him, he's going to be riding around here for a little bit, trying to save that truck as long as he can. It's a tough feeling when you have a good vehicle, good race truck or race car, and you end up getting caught and using your reset early. Same thing happened to me last Wednesday at Indianapolis. Sometimes you just have to bounce back and see what you're able to do as David Hartney makes his way around Gannon Cyphers to move Hartney up into the top 10. It was Eddie Morris. We heard him up into the wall. Eddie having a rough night. Currently sitting back in the 17th position. He is being scored one lap down. And currently just trying to hold on. And Eddie Morris is the last truck that is one lap down, so he's got a lot of battling to do here. Fortunately, a long race, so he does have the opportunity to get himself back on the lead lap if he catches a couple of cautions. And see Michael Provolt working the back bumper of Matthew Fritz, trying to move himself up into the top 5. See Blaze Richardson right in front as well. I notice Richardson running a little different line than most of these drivers. So through turns 1 and 2, he's running the standard line, drives it down to the dotted line, runs it up the track. Double apex it to get off the corner here and down the backstretch. What's interesting is when he comes down into turn number 3, he is nowhere near as high as a lot of the other drivers. We see him kind of driving it down to the double line or the dotted line there off of turn number 4, and he looks like the only driver that's running that line currently. So we'll have to see how that works out for him, or if that wears the tires a little bit more. As we see, Brian Canuti has a mirror full of Devin Butchino. While that's going on, we've got another battle back here. Matthew Scott taking a look down to the inside of Matthew Fritz. He's going to take over the 5th position and sets his sights on the 33 of Blaze Richardson. You see the big run here that is going on. The big gap between our top 3 back to 4th through 8th. Great views here from the iRacing blimp. Okay, as they make their way through turns 3 and 4, you'll see that minnow pond right outside behind the grandstand. There it is, off of turn number 4. So there's the pond that made this racetrack uniquely shaped. Matthew Scott now running down Blaze Richardson, trying to take over the 4th position. Running right there in the tire tracks of the 35, or sorry, the 33. Gets the great run down the backstretch, uses a little bit of drafting. And here's where you'll see these two drivers running completely different lines. I don't know, Scott's going to start using that driving down off the corner as well. So I think these drivers were seeing what Richardson was doing, and they're starting to mimic it. As they are, Matthew Scott is running in the tire tracks of Blaze Richardson. A little further back, we see Joey Hickox trying to take a look down to the inside of Michael Provo. And Joey's going to take over the 7th position. And he's going to set his sights on the 29. Of course, Matthew Fritz, Joey Hickox, and Jay Stinson, all teammates. As this group starts to try to run down the front group, and they're actually starting to run down Devin Butchino just a little bit. We take a look here at the lap times, and 2 of the last 3 laps, Matthew Scott has been a little bit quicker than Devin Butchino. That gap is now down under 2 seconds. It sounds like, is Devin trying to save fuel? I heard somebody shutting their truck off through turns 3 and 4, and I believe it was Devin. Oh, he's just struggling with that truck right now. You see, that truck does not look very happy right now. As Cody Moore now gets passed by Brian Canuti. So it's not that Butchino was shutting the truck off. He's just having to get out of the throttle from keeping that truck under control. And Matthew Scott has now caught Butchino. This is the battle for 3rd position. You see Butchino letting the 35 right on by, and I think Devin is trying to stretch this run here, trying to get to the end of the stage. We'll see how these drivers try to run this stage here, as we have just almost 20 laps to go in the stage. Back here, a gaggle of trucks as Dave Hartney makes his way around Jay Stinson up into the 8th position. And some contact there between Eddie Morris and more contact between Eddie Morris and the 127 of Matt Allen. And if you are the 31 of Jay Stinson, that is not the position you want to be in, seeing these drivers bounce off each other, especially knowing that you do not have a reset left. Now Stinson takes a look down to the inside of David Hartney. And Stinson does not have a reset left, so if he's caught up in another incident, it could end his night here tonight. So now he's got to be a little bit smarter as he tucks in front of the 127 of Matt Allen. And we have our first taker down on the pit road, and that is the 2 of Gannon Cyphers. So 20 laps to go in the stage, coming to 19 laps to go in the stage. Brian Canuti now pulling away from Cody Moore this time. It looks like Cody's going to try to stay out as well. Jay Stinson, oh, David Hartney sideways off the corner right next to the 31. That's another pucker moment for the 31 there as he's able to get around the 43 of Hartney and move himself up into the 8th position. Here's a battle back here. These two drivers are battling for position. Brian and Brett Merle, both running back 14th and 15th position. Currently being scored 1 lap down. Dave Wright right behind. He's down a few laps to the 5 laps currently to the leader. Junior's doing everything he can to try to get around his brother. Meanwhile, up front, Matthew Scott trying to work over Cody Moore. And I believe Matthew Scott is one of the wasted wages drivers, if I'm not mistaken. So that would make wasted wages 1, 2, 3 right now. Yeah, that is correct. Matthew Scott is part of the wasted wages team, although he's not in their Discord channel right now. So wasted wages 1, 2, 3. More drivers making their way down on the pit road. Blaze Richardson's on pit road. Eddie Morris. Sorry, Eddie Morris not on pit road. Just Blaze Richardson at this time. His lap times have really fallen off for Devin Butchino, and it just leaves me to believe that he's still out there trying to save fuel, as you see Gannon Cyphers going around Joey Hickox. Hickox currently in the 4th position. I think Hickox is trying to gamble here and save some fuel as well. Matthew Scott and Cody Moore are still battling here for this 2nd position. As we are quickly approaching 10 laps to go in the stage. Blaze Richardson, who was just on pit road, you see the difference again. New tires make as he's able to drive right around Matthew Scott. Now Cody Moore is pulling away from Matthew Scott as well as Blaze Richardson trying to use those new tires. Cody Moore's going to pull right down to the bottom and let Richardson have the high lane down into turn number 3. Cody Moore trying to ease the pain there of the lap truck going by, trying not to slow either one of them down. As Brian Canuti now lets the lapper by as well. And David Hartney coming down. Oh, almost catches the barrels at the end of pit road. He's going to make his way down on the pit road. Talking about how tough it can be to get down the pit road, and David Hartney just showed why. It's very easy to get down and hit those barrels coming onto pit road, or miss pit road completely as Gan Cyphers makes his way around Cody Moore. And that's allowing Matt Scott to pull right back to the back bumper of Cody Moore. As we have 10 laps left in the stage. I don't think these drivers saved enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage, but we'll have to see. It looks like Devin Butchno has definitely saved enough. Oh, maybe not. Looks like Butch. Well, he's fallen back a couple more spots. Let Matthew Fritz and Michael Provolt by. Cody Moore letting Matthew Scott by. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that Cody Moore, Brian Canuti, Matthew Scott, all these drivers up here have enough fuel to make it to the end. As now Matthew Scott's going to take a look down to the inside of Brian Canuti, and he's going to take over the lead. So Matthew Scott takes the lead away from Brian Canuti. Now Brian Canuti has Cody Moore running him down with just a few laps to go here in our second stage. And Devin Butchino's really slowed down. He's still about a second and a half slower than our front three. As now Cody Moore is going to look down to the inside of Brian Canuti. They're going to battle side by side for the second spot. And when we come by next time, we'll have just 5 laps left in the stage. You hear how gingerly Brian Canuti's getting back to the throttle here through turns 3 and 4. Down into turn number 1. Let that truck roll as much as he can. We go up to Cody Moore, we see a little different look here. Cody really, oh, there it is. Cody shutting the truck off. Going down into the corner, that's allowing him to save fuel with the truck turned off. The truck can't burn any fuel. More drivers on pit road. Blaze Richardson back on pit road. Charles Balance on pit road. Brett Merle just leaving pit road. Dave Hartney still on pit road. As Matthew Scott continues to pull away from Cody Moore and Brian Canuti. 3 laps to go left in this stage. Here's the 31 of Jay Stinson taking a look down to the inside of Devin Butchino. We'll move Stinson up into the 6th position. Again, running a very smart race. Here comes Matthew Fritz going by Devin Butchino. Matthew Scott off of turn number 2. A lap and a half left to go in the stage. Off of turn number 4. This will be white flag for the stage. As Matthew Scott makes his way down into turn number 1. And amazingly, these drivers having enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage. that's going to leave only 9 trucks on the lead lap as Matthew Scott makes his way off of turn number 4, and Matthew Scott is going to win the second stage here tonight at Darlington. Cody Moore is going to come home in second, Brian Canuti in third, Joey Hickox fourth in the stage, Michael Prowalt in fifth, Jay Stinson in sixth, Matthew Fritz, Devin Butchino back in eighth, Joseph Wright in ninth, and Eddie Morris 1 lap down, but the first truck on the 1 lap down, so he will be able to get the lucky dog here and get himself back onto the lead lap. So as I mentioned earlier, he was a few laps down earlier, but he's worked his way back in a position where he is back onto the lead lap. And Dave Hartney has confirmed he is out of the race. Mechanical issues, having issues with his brake pedal. So unfortunate for the driver of the 43. But we would normally talk to your stage winner, but I don't see Matthew Scott in the Discord channel, so. The field is going to make their way down onto pit road. Who is going to win the race off pit road? Looks like Matthew Scott be the first driver off pit road, then Cody Moore, Michael Provolt, Joey Hickox, Jay Stinson, Devin Butchino, Matthew Fritz, Joe Wright, Matt Allen, Brian Canuti. Actually, Matt Allen has scored a lap down, so Brian Canuti will be the 10th truck off of pit road. It's going to allow a few drivers to get the wave around. Looks like Brett Merle, Blaze Richardson, Chuck Balance all staying out right now. They are laps down, but they are able to get themselves at least 1 lap back by staying out and getting the wave around the pace truck. So when they come across the line this time, the lights on the pace truck should be shutting off. And we'll find ourselves 1 lap to go. And up you see Brett Merle accelerating around the pace truck, so that's going to put Matt Scott back right behind the pace truck. He's going to choose the outside, putting Cody Moore down on the low side. Michael Provolt will restart in third. Joey Hickox back in fourth. Jay Stinson back in the 5th spot. And then Devin Butchino back in 6th. Matthew Fritz and Joe Wright back in row number 4. And Brian Canuti and Eddie Morris way back. Well, Brian Canuti back in the 5th row. Eddie Morris is going to restart tail end of the line for being the lucky dog. Brad Hoyt says, nice. What car is he? Not sure who he's referring to, but thanks for joining. Glad to see you in the chat here as the field makes their way off of turn number 4. Pace truck down and away as Matthew Scott leads him down to the Geico restart zone. Green flags back in the air. We are back racing here at Darlington, and already another great jump for our leader, Matthew Scott, able to get out in front of Cody Moore and trying to stay there right now. See the trucks come down the backstretch towards turn number 3. Cody Moore trying to find his way around that 35 of Matthew Scott. And there will be no fuel saving in this run. I am guaranteeing that. Cody Moore taking a look down to the inside, almost washes up the track into his teammate. And he's going to clear the 35. Here comes Hickson. Oh, Hickox gets loose, saves it, almost catches the inside wall. Great job holding on to that truck, as he's going to lose quite a few positions, but he didn't lose the truck, and that's the important part, as he's now fallen back into the 9th position. But holding on to the truck. What a save for Joey Hickox. There's Jay Stinson back in that 5th position, trying to hold off Brian Canuti. He's going to take a look down to the inside of Michael Provolt. Provolt's going to easily yield that position. He's going to lose another spot here to Brian Canuti off of turn number 4. So Jay Stinson up in the 4th, Brian Canuti up in the 5th. Now Matthew Fritz wants to get his turn at Michael Provolt. But so far, not close enough to make that move. Devin Buccino looking for a little redemption here. He played the first 2 stages kind of safe. Neither one of them worked out in his favor. Now he's right there on the back bumper of Matthew Scott, trying to take away that 2nd position. And he will. Here comes Brian Canuti taking a look down to the inside of Stinson. Side by side down into turn number 3. Off of turn number 4. They're going to be door-to-door, side-by-side across the line. Pretty even there as they come across the line. Stinson's got a little bit of an advantage on that higher line, pinching down the 40 of Canuti as they make their way off of turn number 2. And exactly what happens, Canuti has to yield. He loses a bunch of time to Stinson and falls right back into the clutches of Michael Provolt. Right behind him is Joey Hickox, who was just almost heading towards the wall a few laps ago. Finds himself back up in the 8th position and continuing to march himself forward. Jay Stinson in that 31 machine running down Matthew Scott. And Scott slowed down quite a bit already. Last time by, Devin Buccino ran a 30 flat, and Matthew Scott ran a 30.72. So quite a big gap between those two. As they run right now, Devin Buccino is currently the fastest truck out on the racetrack. See, for 3 laps, Cody Moore was just a little bit quicker, but now Devin Buccino is starting to lay down some laps. Very consistent laps, too. A 30.0, a 30.06, 30.08. He's slowly chopping into the lead of Cody Moore. Eddie Morris, who's had an up and down night so far tonight, now finds himself back in the top 10, back on the lead lap. Trying to battle with his teammate Joseph Wright for that 9th position. They're catching the 3 of Joey Hickox. And Joe Wright going to take a look down to the inside of Hickox. Eddie Morris trying to follow suit. And Joey back in the now 10th position. Last truck on the lead lap. Oh, Devin Bucciano still trying to run down Cody Moore. Now Matthew Scott's pulled right back to the back bumper as Devin Bucciano's time starting to drop off a little bit. So it looks like he pushed a little bit harder than Cody and Matt, and he's paying for it now. And that's so easy to do here at Darlington because of how abrasive the surface is here. It's really easy to start driving hard and burn your stuff off without even trying, as here comes Matthew Scott looking down to the inside. And Butch is going to give up that position. Here comes the 31 of Jay Stinson and Brian Canuti making their way off of turn number 4. A couple drivers down pit road. We just saw Blaze Richardson down on pit road. Brett Merle was just on pit road a few laps ago. Now Devin Bucciano in the process of falling back yet again. Meanwhile, up front, Cody Moore getting around the lap truck of Brett Merle, who's not having a good night here tonight at all. You see, this truck has been up into the wall quite a few times here tonight. We'll take a look at it. It comes by. You see the right side of that truck all scraped up. Not the night that Brett was looking to have, but it's the thing about Darlington. They call it the track that's too tough to tame for a reason. Lady in Black can come out and bite you at any moment as he works his way around Cody Moore, getting one of his laps back. He is again on fresh tires. Now we see Matthew Fritz in the 29. Trying to run down Michael Provolt. Try to take over the 7th position. Now we see Devin Bucciano falling back to Brian Canuti. Canuti was able to get around Stinson. Canuti's trying to find a way to get around the 68 of Devin Bucciano. Oh, issues for Brian Merle Jr. Slow down the backstretch. We stay green as Brian Canuti now makes a move down to the inside of Devin Bucciano. He's going to take over that 3rd position. See if we can see what happened to Brian Merle Jr. here. Oh, the 55 of Gomes bounces off the wall right in front of... Oh, really bounces off the wall right in front of Jr. Jr. slides down, catches that inside wall, down off the racing surface enough where it won't bring out a caution, but a tough break for Brian Merle Jr. who's now got a lot of damage to that race truck. And his tough night has now gotten even tougher. Four trucks, nose to tail. Devin Bucciano, Jay Stinson, Matthew Fritz, Michael Provolt in this mix here. So Butchino, Stinson, Provolt, Fritz all nose to tail. 4th through 7th. With a lot of racing to go and a guaranteed pit stop left here tonight. We know that they could make it 50 laps. Actually, it's more like 45 after the end of the stage there. But 70 laps is going to be a tough order, so I imagine probably see these drivers try to split this last stop. I imagine the pit window will probably open up around lap 135 to 140. You'll start to see drivers making their way down onto pit road. As Michael Provolt trying to find his way around the 31 of Stinson. And now the 29 of Matthew Fritz right there all over the back bumper of Michael Provolt. Stinson now gets a run. Sets his sight on the 68 of Devin Butchino. So once pit stops start, you'll see down at the bottom of the page the pit stop ticker. When the driver makes his way down on the pit road, you'll see the first 3 initials of their name. You'll see the word pit flashing, and here you go, pit flashing. That means they've made their way on the pit road. That time you see, that is the total time on pit road. When the word pit stops flashing, that means the driver is in their pit stall. And when that pit turns into a time, that is how long they were stationary. So you see that is Brian Merle Jr. down on pit road right now, making his way down to his pit stall. Now he's in his pit stall, getting his service done. Now he's down away. 14.6 seconds was his time stationary. And you'll see the entire pit stop, pit lane time there on the ticker as well. Charles Balance now on pit road. Here comes David Wright on the pit road as well. So quite a few drivers starting to make their way down on the pit road. This battle is continuing to heat up, and Jay Stinson now up into the 4th position. Devin Butchino trying to hold off the hard-charging 29 of Matthew Fritz. Fritz right there on the back bumper of the 68. Trying to look for a move around. Just not quite close enough to make that move happen. Now he's going to take a look down to the inside. There's more drivers down on pit road. That's Ryan Gomes down on pit road, and Fritz going to take over the 5th position. So the pit window opening a little bit earlier than I thought it was going to. Some drivers coming down around lap 130. 125 to 130, a little bit earlier than I thought we were going to see, but our leaders still stayed out, and I imagine we'll still see them coming down pit road around lap 135. Within the next 5 laps or so, we should start seeing our leaders peel down on the pit road. Cody Moore now has a 3.2 second lead over his teammate. Brian Canuti running back in second. In third place, Matthew Scott, not too far behind. So Wasted Wage is running 1, 2, 3. And Jay Stinson runs back in the 4th position. One of the first Venom Racing drivers here tonight. And Matthew Fritz, as Joseph Wright makes his way down the pit road. Matthew Fritz, another Venom driver, runs back in the 5th position. Our first Neon driver, Devin Butchino, runs back in 6th. All by Michael Provo having a strong showing here tonight in the 7th spot, up 4 spots from where he started. Then Eddie Morris, who's had a very rough night, finds himself back in the 8th position, but back on the lead lap. Joey Hickox back in the 9th spot, who had a heck of a save not too long ago, still on the lead lap. And then Joseph Wright was our final driver on the lead lap, but just came down pit road, so he loses a lap to Cody Moore, but he should be able to gain that pretty quickly. Especially once our leaders start making their way down pit road. Speaking of leaders coming down pit road, Matthew Scott now down on the pit road. So our first actual leader down on the pit road here. Is that going to lure Cody Moore and Brian Canuti down on the pit road? Cody Moore passes pit road, so isn't Jay Stinson's going to bypass pit road, so isn't Fritz. Butchino stays out as well. See if Joey Hickox makes his way. Nope, he's going to stay out on the racetrack as well. So Matthew Scott, here comes Cody Moore now down on the pit road. Brian Canuti, trying to get a woe down. Is he going to be able to make it on the pit road? He does. Here comes Jay Stinson and Matthew Fritz on the pit road as well. So Devin Butchino and Michael Provolt staying out, along with Eddie Morris. Joey Hickox did make his way down pit road as well. So pit road becoming a busy place. As here comes Provolt and Devin Butchino diving down onto the apron early. And Eddie Moore, look at Eddie Morris making up as much time as he could to catch right up to these guys. What a pit entry for the 8 machine, was not wasting any time. We see Matthew Scott going by, Joe Wright going by there as well on the high side. Brian Canuti comes down the backstretch, getting back up the speed. He will be your leader when he comes by Devin Butchino, who's sitting stationary on pit road. Now here comes the race off of pit road. Provolt, Butchino, and Morris are down and away. I believe Morris might have taken his reset there. Well, it looks like that truck is still pretty scraped up on the outside, so he's hoping to make that work, as Joseph Wright has a mirror full of Cody Moore. Cody on fresher tires going to take a look down to the inside. and easily going to dispatch of the 82 of Joe Wright. That's going to put Cody Moore up into the 3rd position. Now, you've got a almost 4-second gap to 2nd place Matthew Scott. And Matthew Scott is almost 2 seconds behind Brian Canuti. And that should be enough to make, that should give these guys enough fuel to make it to the end. So unless we have a late race caution, I don't see any drivers coming back down pit road. See Brian Canuti running up onto the back bumper of David Wright, who's going to pull down and get out of the way. Brian Canuti working through the lap traffic, the 55 of Gomes. Now working down to the inside of Brian Merle Jr. And kind of a sketchy moment there for Brian Canuti as he's making his way through the lap traffic. Jay Stinson running down the 82 of Joe Wright. It's a battle for the 4th position. Stinson showed some speed here tonight. He's got an opportunity to get himself up onto the podium here tonight, I think. He continues running the way he's running. Just not able to find a way around that 82 machine at the moment. Get a run down into turn number 3. He's going to get around Joe Wright to take over that 4th position. Coming up on the lap truck of Brett Merle. See another driver coming down pit road. That is Ryan Gomes making his way down on the pit road yet again. We have just 23 laps to go. Brian Canuti continues to be out front by 3.5 seconds over his teammates Matthew Scott and Cody Moore. Another Venom driver, Matthew Fritz, trying to get around Joe Wright. Down across the line. And Fritz is going to take over the 5th position. So Venom having a very strong showing here tonight as well. Currently 2 of their trucks up into the top 5. Joey Hickox currently runs in 10th, so all 3 trucks in the top 10 here tonight. Hickox again with an amazing save earlier in the race. Brian Canuti makes his way off of turn number 4. We're going to have just 20 laps to go in the race. Eddie Morris battling with Michael Provolt right now for the 8th position. Devin Bucciano right there in front of Morris as well. So again, Eddie trying to rebound, had a really rough start to the night. Now finds himself right here battling for 7th and 8th. Blaze Richardson back on pit road. Jay Stinson now trying to work around the lap traffic, looking down to the inside of Brian Merle Jr. Jr. just not giving any room. Now Stinson's going to be able to get the run down on the bottom, and both him and Matthew Fritz are going to dispatch of the 13 of Brian Merle Jr. Stinson's got a gap of 4.5 seconds up to third place Cody Moore. Does he have enough time to run down our leaders and get himself up on the podium? Either way, what a great run here tonight. What a great showing here tonight for the Venom team. Cody Moore and Matthew Scott now battling for second and third. Scott is right there on the back bumper. See Matthew Scott able to drive in just a little bit deeper, even though Cody Moore's got a little bit fresher tires. Well, I take that back. Cody Moore just passed Matthew Scott for second place. So Matthew Scott's got a little older tires, and Cody Moore's been able to run him down and get around him. Now the question is, can Jay Stinson in the 31 run down Matthew Scott to get himself onto the podium here tonight? Out front, it is all Brian Canuti, out in front by almost 6 seconds over his teammate Cody Moore, as we have just 15 laps to go. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night for the Dev Sports Cards Next Gen Series, as the Next Gen Series takes on Iowa Speedway. If you like short track action, join us tomorrow night for the Dev Sports Cards Next Gen Series right here on Intensity Broadcasting. See Joe Wright trying to run Michael Provolt back down. This is a battle for the 8th position. Still only 10 trucks on the lead lap. Joey Hickox is the final truck on the lead lap, and he's about 5 seconds on the racetrack away from being put a lap down. But again, having a very solid race here, and don't forget, your points are double. Your final position points are doubled tonight. So there's a huge opportunity for some of these drivers to make up some big points here, as Brian Merle Jr. and Gannon Cyphers are battling here. This is a battle for 11th, as Jr. was able to keep out in front of Cyphers, but Cyphers is going to have the big run down the backstretch. Is he going to try to make a move down into turn number 3? No, he's going to stay tucked in line. Now Cyphers is going to look up to the high side of Jr. And almost some contact between these two drivers as they're door to door down the front stretch and into turn number 1. Cypher's able to drive deeper into the corner. He's going to take over that 11th position. He bounces off the wall right in front of Joey Hickox. He has to take a evasive move down to the bottom. He's going to clear, though, the 13 going into the corner. You go back to Brian Canuti up here all by himself, and you see the gap between himself and Cody Moore, which is slowly shrinking. But with just 9 laps to go, I don't think there's going to be enough time for Cody Moore to gain. We take a look at the last 10 laps. And the interval's actually grown a little bit in the last few laps. So Cody Moore, unless something wild was to happen here in the next 8 laps, Brian Canute's just going to sit here and roll on cruise control. Again, 8 laps to go. A lot of things can happen. As always, the flag man has the yellow flag in hand just in case something was to happen here. But for the most part, everybody's kind of spread out around the racetrack. But again, we've seen wilder things happen, as we almost saw an incident earlier with Hitchcox when he got a little loose there off the corner, able to hold on to it. Brian Merle Jr. caught the inside wall. And then there was that incident a few moments ago where Hitchcox had to make an evasive move to keep from running into the back of Brian Merle Jr. So plenty of drama still left here. Brian Canute comes across the stripe to make it just 6 laps to go. Off of turn number 4, Brian Nudi's going to see 5 to go from the flagman. Cody Moore now 7 seconds behind Matthew Scott, 8.5 seconds behind Canuti. But Jay Stinson has caught the 35 of Matthew Scott. He is gaining on him lap after lap. Stinson doing everything he can to try to get himself onto the podium here tonight. And you see the difference in speed between the 35 and the 31. With 4 laps to go, it looks like Stinson's going to be able to catch the 35 and get to the back bumper. It's one thing to catch a driver, it's another thing to get around him. So make their way off of turn number 2. Does Stinson have enough tire left to run down Matthew Scott and get around him here in the next 3.5 laps? Stinson's so much stronger off of turn number 4. You see him get that good run down the front stretch. They're pretty even through turns 1 and 2. Well, where Stinson's making all of his time up is through turns 3 and 4 and down the front stretch. That time, though, Matthew Scott able to get the throttle down a little bit better and pull away just slightly. But here comes Stinson back with the run. 2 laps to go. And the interval is just 0.2 of a second. You see it, less than 5 car lengths here. Stinson really trying to drive it through the corner here to catch up to the 35. As they make their way off of turn number 2, he's able to stay pretty even with him there that time through turns 1 and 2. This is where he makes up all of his time, though, is through turns 3 and 4. The white flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. Brian Canute has a couple lap trucks right in front of him, but he's going to be on cruise control for this final lap as he makes his way towards turns 3 and 4. Gan Cypher's going to stay up and out of the way. Brian Canute is going to make his way off of turn number 4, and Brian Canute is going to get the win here at Darlington. The battle for the final podium spot between Matthew Scott and Jay Stinson. And Scott is going to hold on and take over that spot. What a race. But your winner here tonight, driver of the 40 machine, Brian Canuti. His 21st career SCSRA win. He's going to make his way down towards the front stretch where he's going to be able to pose for a picture and then celebrate his win here tonight. And it is a wasted wages 1, 2, 3. As Brian Canuti celebrates his win. In the Morris Customs Truck Series here tonight. At the beginning, you didn't really think his strategy was going to pay off, but in the end, able to get it done here tonight as he's going to take himself a little bit of a Polish victory lap. And let's take a look at the results tonight. Brian Canuti drifts it backwards through turns 3 and 4. And Brian Canuti, again, your winner here tonight. Cody Moore in second. Matthew Scott brings it home third. Jay Stinson and Matthew Fritz, Venom drivers, run fourth and fifth. Devin Butchino brings it home in sixth. Eddie Morris rebounds for a great 7th place finish. Michael Provo in 8th. Joseph Wright and Joey Hickox round out your top 10. Gan Cyphers brings it home 11th. Brian Merle Jr. back in 12th. Matt Allen comes home 13th. 14th was Brett Merle, then David Wright back in 15th. Blaze Richardson in the 16th position. Ryan Gomes finishes 17th. 18th was Chuck Balance. 19th, David Hartney and Rick Ward round out the field here tonight at Darlington as we get ready to talk to our 3 wasted wages drivers. As Brian Canuti continues to celebrate here tonight. We'll talk with our 3rd place finisher. Matthew Scott. Matt, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Josh, how's it going, man?
Man, what a run for you here tonight, getting the 3rd place finish here. Mixed bag of strategies among the wasted wages boys here tonight, but all 3 of you on the podium. Talk about your race and what strategy you thought was going to work best for you and how it changed through the race.
Yeah, I have my buddy James Bickford in the in my back pocket there, calling the shots. He came up with actually a pretty good strategy there, got us the stage win, and then ended up with a little bit of static in the head sail on that last stage, so I just kind of had to limp it home. I thought I might have had a good strategy going there. It looked like I got out in front of everybody, but I just didn't have anything for Brian there at the end. Not even close. He was just in another league tonight.
Coming down to the last few laps, you had Jay Stinson running you down. He looked to be so much stronger through turns 3 and 4, but you were able to pretty much match him pretty much everywhere else. Was that a bit of a concern there towards the end, watching that 31 get a little bit bigger in the mirror?
Yeah, I was, I was hoping he'd get just about to right there, because I figured if he'd get there, then he'd get a little bit of an arrow push, and I think that's what kind of got him there. I think that it kind of wrecked his right front for me. I think held on just long enough there. I started finding something there, kind of pedaled it, and it started turning the truck a little bit better. So, all in all, good night.
Well, again, congrats on the podium here tonight. Again, wasted wages 1, 2, 3. That's a pretty good feeling. Before I let you go, Matt, who do you want to thank? What do you got to say tonight?
I just thank everybody watching tonight. It's been a fun time with the league so far. Always good to go 1, 2, 3 here. So on to the next one.
Sorry, I lost my mic for a second. Well, awesome, man. A great job here tonight, and look forward to seeing what you can do tomorrow night at Iowa.
Right on, boss. I'll talk to you later.
Have a great night.
See ya.
So that was your third place finisher, Matthew Scott. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Cody Moore. Cody, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Man, winner of the first stage. Come home a little short in the second stage. Come home second at the end of the race, but great points night overall for you, extending your points lead. Talk us through the different strategy there. I know the strategy you had won you the first stage, but it didn't work out for you in the second stage. Did you kind of see what Canuti did there and just try to mirror him and try to save as much fuel, or was that kind of the plan from the beginning?
Yeah, we kind of knew we were in trouble. Maybe 10, 15 laps in, so we started saving, and then I started saving a lot, clutching it really early and just letting the car or the truck roll through the corner. Nudie actually ran out of gas, unfortunately. But yeah, luckily he was able to get back up here and get the win.
Well, I didn't realize he was that close on fuel where he ran out, but talk about towards the end there. There's a lot of lap traffic. It seemed like it got a little sketchy out there a couple times for you guys. Did that kind of concern you? And were you kind of thinking in the back pocket that there might be a caution to kind of tighten everything back up and give you a chance?
No, a lot of credit to the field. Lap traffic really worked with us. There was a lot of give and take. Yeah, no cautions came out. It was a really good race. But yeah, like I said, just want to say shout out to the field for yielding, and we did the same for them when they were on new tires. Sometimes the lap cars would pass us. So it was a good race. Yeah, the last stage there, unfortunately, I missed my pit stall on the last pit stop, and I think I would have had something for Nudie, but it would have been a really good race. But instead, he kind of rode off into the sunset with it. So really happy for him. He got the win, but at the same time, kind of bitter that I came short.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, only one caution for incident here tonight. So great job for the field here tonight. And before we let you go, Cody, who you got to thank? Who you got to shout out?
Yeah, got to thank, as always, my beautiful wife, Maggie, my beautiful children, Papa Moore watching at home, my mom watching, Josh, you at Intensity Broadcasting. We really appreciate you doing these late night ones. Devin for running this, Eddie for all he does, and oh yeah, I got a shout out to my sponsor, Eddie Morris Customs. Hit him up; he'll give you a nice paint job. And thanks again, Josh.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the second place finish and good luck tomorrow at Iowa.
Thanks, bud.
There you have your second place finish here tonight. Let's bring in your winner, his 21st career SCSRA win, Brian Canuti. Brian, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Woo, I got you, buddy.
Hey, as Michael Lawrence said in the chat there, the man in orange tames the lady in black. Man, what a run for you here tonight. First stage just didn't seem like it was your time. You tried to run a strategy that just didn't work for you. Then you guys able to stretch it a little bit more in that second stage, and then Wasted Wages just dominated the race tonight, and you get the win at the end. Looks like Cody may have missed his pit stall there at the end, but overall, what a race for the entire team here tonight.
Oh yeah, it was a blast. A great race tonight for all of the three Wasted Wages guys. Top max points. Well, except for the stages, I screwed up at that first stage for some reason. I didn't double check the tire thing, and I thought Devin had said something about there was only 5 sets over the wall, so I thought there was 5. So I just wanted to have like an extra set just in case there was a late race caution. Didn't realize that we had plenty extra tires. I still got 3 extra sets of tires. They are for sale. Let me know. DM me in the comments. But yeah, I don't know. I got hung up. I don't know if I would have had anything for Cody. It would have been close. I felt like I was a little bit better on the long run. But definitely him missing his pit stall basically just kind of handed me the win, and just able to kind of run away with it at that point.
Well, only one caution for incident here tonight, and at Darlington with 20 trucks on the track, that's kind of surprising. Did that kind of surprise you too? Did you kind of have in the back of your mind that you might see a little caution there towards the end?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was thinking people are getting kind of dicey. I thought for sure we were definitely going to have some sort of a caution. That's why I wanted to save that extra set. But then after we realized that we didn't have to pit in stage 1 or stage 2, because I thought we were going to have to pit in both. I thought we were going to be 4 sets deep by the time we were done with all the stages. I only have one extra set left, so I wanted to have that extra set. Didn't work out, but did kind of work out. Had the speed to recover from my horrible pit strategy.
And running out of fuel, I heard. So from running
running out of fuel.
So
Yes.
from running out of fuel to getting yourself the win here tonight, man, what a run! Congratulations on the win, Canute. Before we let you go, anyone want to thank any shout out you got to give here tonight?
As always, I got to thank my beautiful wife for letting me do this. All my teammates, everybody over at Wasted Wages did an awesome job. Awesome job tonight. Also want to thank Big Ferd. He was spotting for Matt out there, helping him out. You up in the booth do an awesome job. Everybody over at Intensity, all the league admins over at SCSRA. We got Eddie, we got Devin, we got Hartney, we got Sylvan. He's doing the points. So he's updating them right now as we speak. Me, I'm kind of there, kind of not, kind of helping out, but mainly it's those 4 guys that really put on the whole show, get this thing rock and rolling. And also I want to thank my kids. They were watching the stream tonight, rooting me on. And then, as always, I want to thank Gill's Dump Truck Service and Pizzeria, the fastest dump trucks in the Northwest.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the win and good luck tomorrow night. Are you going to be running Iowa tomorrow night?
I will be there.
Awesome. Well, good luck tomorrow night, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yep. See you then.
So there you have it here tonight at Darlington. Brian Canute getting the win and taming the lady in black. Again, we want to thank everybody who joined us here tonight. I do see Mike Scott saying, first time watching, pretty cool seeing your son come home third. Thanks for joining us here tonight. And awesome. Glad you got to see a great race here on Intensity Broadcasting. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, or on Kick. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. Of course, don't forget to check out our great partners listed down below in the description, including our series sponsor, Morris Customs, Blue Ridge Automotive, Race EPI for all your iRacing setups and coaching needs, IntensityBroadcasting.com. Visit our web store so you can check out our merchandise as well as Atman Weiss's racing gear, novelty t-shirts. We've got it all. We've got SCSRA shirts there as well. So you can check all that out at the link below at IntensityBroadcasting.com. And of course, we want to thank Butt Kicker, one of our great partners here. Butt Kicker is an established and leader in gaming haptics. If you're looking for that little extra edge, check out thebuttkicker.com. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Again, don't forget to join us tomorrow night. Atman Weiss will have the call as the Next Gen Series takes on Iowa in the Dev Sports Cards Next Gen Series. And as our boy Atman Weiss would say, over and out.